All right, welcome everyone. We're going to start our webinar in just a couple minutes. Wait just a minute or two to let people come aboard. So welcome. This is the Jungle Software. This is our 50 Reasons to Upgrade, which is also for both Gorilla 6 users and users who don't have Gorilla at all. So we're going to go over Gorilla scheduling and budgeting, and which is our new release. We released it just a few months ago, and getting some good traction on it. So we're really excited to show you some of the new features. Like I said, I'm going to wait just another minute or two. But if you have any questions, you're welcome to chat them in. My moderator is going to be on board in just a minute too, and she'll be able to take questions. And then at the end, we're going to have a Q&A. So you can ask anything you want about Gorilla or about scheduling and budgeting, or actually anything about film production or pre-production, because I know a lot about that. So if you have any questions about film production in general, you're welcome. I can certainly give that a shot and answer your questions about that. So like I said, just give me another minute, give us another minute or two, and we're going to get started, because I want to want to finish this around 6 o'clock. So I'm going to try to do the most of the webinar for about 45, 50 minutes, which gives me about 1 minute per feature. So I'm going to have to go fast, and then we're going to save the end for some Q&A. All right. So as I go through this, you're welcome to ask a question during the seminar, during the webinar. Try to keep it, if I'm asking a question about, if I'm speaking about a certain topic, a certain feature, and you have a question about that feature, that's the perfect time to ask it. So go ahead and just chat that in. If it's just sort of more of a general question, do save that to the end, because we will have a Q&A at the end. So let's get started. It's about 5:03 and people will be joining in. Great. So welcome once again to our Gorilla 7 scheduling and budgeting webinar. I'm going to try to go over all the new features, or at least most of them, that we in Gorilla 7. So let's get started. And oops, sorry, I jumped the gun there. Gorilla in the upgrade, we basically touched on the Gorilla 7 modules, on all the modules, which are breakdown, scheduling, you can see them here on the screen, budgeting, episodes, which is brand new in Gorilla 7, storyboarding, stripboard, etc. So each one of these features that I'm going to go through fits into one of these categories. So when I'm on that category, for example, breakdown or screenplay or whatever, if you have any questions on that, that's the perfect time to ask. So let's go ahead to the first one. The first one is on-screen tagging. So this is really a nice feature. So I'm going to go back and forth from my PowerPoint to Gorilla. And this is Gorilla 7. I'm going to go ahead and launch a schedule. And one of the first things you're going to notice is that you can see the screenplay on the screen for the scene that you are on. And one of the new features we have is a tagging, on-screen tagging feature, where you could highlight a word that you want to tag, let's say sidewalks, for example, click the space bar, and then select a category. So let's say we want to select set dressing, and go ahead and select tag. And it tags that, as you can see, it highlights it in the category color. And it also adds it up on the top where it says scheduled elements for scene. You could see sidewalks right there. Now, obviously, not every single element is going to be in the screenplay that you need to tag. There's tons and tons of elements that are not in the screenplay that you need to tag, and that you could do the old traditional way, which, for example, you select the props category, you go ahead and select a prop, you create a new prop right here. Here's where you could create an element that is not in the screenplay. But we added the on-screen tagging, which is really nice. All right, let's go to the next one here. Reuse tagged elements. Okay, I'm not going to read this because I'm going to show it to you. So let me go ahead and show you that. Reuse tagged elements. So a lot of times in a screenplay, when you're tagging the scenes, you will come across, and because writers do this, it's natural, you'll come across an element that was already tagged in a previous scene, but with a slightly different name. So what we've introduced is reuse tagged elements. So I have an example here. If I go to scene, I believe it's scene 3. Here we go. If you could see here on scene 3, there's an element called food spattered t-shirt. And that was already tagged. It was actually tagged in the screenplay. And if I go to, and I'm going through my screenplay and I'm tagging it. And then I go to scene 5, and you notice here, the same character, Chubby is the same character that was in scene 3. And it says here, wipes his tomato-stained hands on his already filthy shirt. Now, if you know, if you're UPM and you're breaking down the script and you already went through scene 3, you already know that filthy shirt is the food spattered t-shirt. So instead of tagging it again and having 2 elements that are really the same element, you can use reuse tagged element. So what you could do is you could highlight it, click the space bar, go ahead to costumes, because it is a costume, select food spattered t-shirt, and notice what happens. It says that the highlighted text is filthy shirt, but the tag used in the schedule is food spattered t-shirt. We're going to go ahead and click the tag button. And what this is going to do is, of course, it's going to color code the filthy shirt. But notice up here in scheduling elements for scene, it'll show you food spattered t-shirt, and in parentheses, it'll show filthy shirt. So that's a nice new feature that you can use, especially if you're doing elements that have slightly different names than the original element tagged. All right. Next one, this one you probably noticed already, color-coded screenplay display. We now have the screenplay display that's color-coded. So obviously the color code references the category that the element is tagged in. And you can see the category colors here on the left. And of course, you could change those colors if you want, but these are sort of standard industry category breakdown colors. The next one, import breakdown sheets from Excel. Believe it or not, this was one of our user requested features. A lot of people don't use a screenplay to import into Gorilla. What they wanted to do is they wanted to create their breakdown sheets in Excel, or maybe someone did it for them, and then import that. And if you've already done, 30, 40, 60, 100, scenes or breakdown sheets in Excel, we didn't have an option to import that. You can now. So if you go to your file, import breakdown sheets from Excel, you could see this gives you a legend or a map of how to set up your Excel spreadsheet, where to put the scene number, where to put the set, where to put the interior, exterior, etc., the page count. You go ahead and click on import and locate the Excel spreadsheet and import that in. It comes right in. And again, this is only for users who aren't using a screenplay program like Final Draft. But a lot of users use it if you're doing documentaries, for example. You don't want to write out a script because you don't have action and dialogue, or anything else that is more of a simplified form that you just want to get those breakdown sheets in. And you could certainly do that. So that's a brand new feature, importing it from Excel. Replace phase for found set of breakdown sheets. This is a really a good one. What this allows you to do is, if you're familiar with how Gorilla works with production phases, which you can create. And a production phase is basically a set of shoot dates. So in this particular schedule, you can see up here, the phase is principal photography. Use a little blue color for that. I have a few other phases here. So if I go down to scene 18, for example, I think there we go. There's pickups, which I color coded as pink. So if you wanted to change a scene to a different phase, normally what you would do is you'd go to that scene, you'd click on the phase button, and then select the phase. You could certainly do that. However, if you had if you wanted to just get rid of a phase, for example, or move a whole bunch of scenes from a phase, so all the scenes from pickups, maybe 30, 40 scenes from pickups into principal photography, you couldn't do that in one fell swoop. You had to do it individually, but now you could do it in one fell swoop. What you can do is you can go into our list view, which is actually, a lot of people don't know this, but this is a great view where you could see all your breakdown sheets, again, in that Excel sort of view. And because you can see here the phase column, there's underwater shoot, and there's pickups. Now here, there's only 2 pickups, but imagine there's 30 or 40, which is a lot. And if you wanted to change them all, it would be a kind of a pain. What you can do is you could do a search for pickups. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do a find and go ahead here and select, type in pickups. And now I'm going to see, and we're looking at only the pickups. And then there's a new one here, a new pull down option that says replace phase for breakdown, for found breakdown sheets. And what you could do is then select principal photography, for example, and all these would change to principal photography. So that's a nice new feature there. Location day count. Okay, what this is allows you to do, now in Gorilla you have locations and you have sets. So this set is the world of the screenplay. So this is imported from your screenplay, main room or whatever is in here, interior, set, day or night. The location is the actual physical location of where it is that you're going to shoot that particular scene. So what this allows you to do is if you schedule your scenes on the board and you have locations attached, you can see how many days at a location you need right on the fly. You don't have to run a stripboard report. So here I am in locations, and notice here it says days at location. So we could see it's 5 days for a managed apartment, 1 for Beverly Hills set. Nice feature that you could use just to see how many days you have at a particular location. Easier call sheet printing. This is really nice. A lot of people, let me go into our shoot days and go into a particular day here, day 1, for example. And now we're going to see the shoot day details for a particular day. If you wanted to print a call sheet, you had to exit out of all these screens, go to the print menu, select call sheet, and then print. But we've now added a convenient button here where you can literally just print a call sheet or a crew call sheet or a cast call sheet right from this screen for that particular day. So the day is already chosen. You don't have to select the day, and you can just go ahead and print a call sheet right from here. So that's pretty convenient. Since we're still on this day, improve shoot day navigation. So when you're on the details for the day, if you want to go to another day, you could simply just go down to another day, March 2nd, for example. Call times will be refreshed, and you could go ahead and do whatever you need to do for that particular day before you had to exit out of all these screens, go back to the calendar, select the day, and open it up again. So that's a nice, convenient way to go to another day. OC, okay, OC, what is OC? OC is what's called on call, and that's sort of a standard thing that you would put on a call sheet sometimes for a particular crew member that doesn't necessarily have a call time, but needs to be on call. So for example, here you could see the first camera assistant has a 6 o'clock a.m. call time over here. If I select on call, it's going to take the call time out, and on the call sheet now, it's going to be said the first camera assistant is on call, which means, of course, they need to be ready to come to the set when they are called. So that's a nice feature you could add to your call sheets. Combine categories. This is nice. A lot of times, actually, when you import a screenplay, you will import a category that might conflict with another category. What I mean by that. So let's go into elements. So in the elements screen, this is all your scheduled elements or elements that you have. And as you can see here on the right, they're all attached to a category. So if I filter down here and I see costumes, I've got all my costumes. If I go down to filter again and then go down and I see wardrobe, there's a wardrobe category. And I don't have anything there, but let's say I go ahead and add real quickly something for wardrobe. And I'm going to just call it red scarf, for example. Right, there we go. So now I have a red scarf that's in the wardrobe category. Well, wardrobe and costumes they're pretty much the same category. You really don't need both. So what you can do is you can go under elements here, the pull down, and select combine categories, and go ahead and select the costumes category, and then select the wardrobe category. And what this will do is this will combine the categories into one. Costumes will be the primary category. It will delete the secondary category if this is selected, and it will bring over all the elements attached to the wardrobe category into the costumes category. So that's a nice feature. Again, you don't have to do that manually. Add single. So now we're in scheduling. Add single range of shoot days on calendar. This is actually very nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the shoot days screen, and this is where my calendar is. This is brand new too, by the way. If you're familiar with Gorilla 6, we never had a calendar. It was sort of an Excel view where you saw all your shoot days. Now you can see all your shoot days in a nice calendar view. You have the green bar, which indicates a shoot day. The red indicates a non-shoot day or off day, and a blue, which is a travel day. So what you can do here, if you want to add a day, you can just click on it. Go ahead, and I just clicked on 11, and it's going to say this is not a shoot day. Do you want to add this day to the phase? You can go ahead and click continue. But what you can also do is, let's say I want to add the 14th, but 11, 12, and 13 I want as off days. So if I click on 14, what it's going to do is it's going to show you, it's going to assume that that's what you want to do. It's going to say, okay, currently the last shoot day, as you can see here, is the 10th. Do you want to create this new day, which is the 14th, as a shoot day? All days between these days will be off days. We'll mark as off days. That's perfect. So you can do that in one fell swoop. A really nice way to manage your calendar. All right, next one is category abbreviation. All right, this was actually a feature that was requested by a user. And what this allows you to do is, now let me explain IDs. If you're not familiar with IDs, an ID is a numerical value that's attached to an element. In this instance, you could see the cast members, and the ID is associated, each ID is associated with a cast member. So 1 is Barney, 2 is Amanda, etc. So when you go to a call sheet, when you go to the strip board, you can see those numbers and they correspond to that particular cast member. You could do that with everything. You could do it with props, you could do it with costumes, etc. However, what you can do now I don't have any IDs here, but you can certainly add them. What you could do now, if you click this ID button down here, is, now, first of all, you could do it automatically here. You couldn't do that before. You had to go to the elements. But notice there's a category abbreviation field right here. It says PR, and this is standard. You could change that to whatever you want. But if I go ahead and click OK, what it's going to do is it's going to add an ID to every single prop with an abbreviation of PR before it. So that means whenever you see a PR in front of an element, obviously PR stands for prop. That means it's a prop. So you could do this with all your elements. Costumes would be CS, for example. Stunts might be ST, for example. So once you see an element and you recognize that abbreviation, you will know that it's part of that category. So that's a new feature. Hide element in breakdown list. Okay, this is good. Let's say for here I am in elements, for example. I'm breaking down my screenplay. Let's say, for example, Hostess cupcakes. You could see that as PR6 now. So Hostess cupcakes and anything that is food related, gazpacho and hors d'oeuvres, and cupcake is right over there too, and bowl. I only needed that for one scene. So I already scheduled it. I already did all that, but I don't really want to see them every single time. I just have 17 elements here, but sometimes you have hundreds and hundreds of elements in your list, and you have to scroll down a whole bunch of them. So I don't want to delete them because I obviously need them, but I want to hide them. So what you can do is, if you go to elements, and let's go ahead and filter and show the props. And now, remember I told you that let's say the food items we don't really want to see anymore, so we can hide them. So I can go ahead and hide cupcake here, and I can hide Hostess cupcakes is down here. So notice this little hide column. What this is doing, it's not deleting it, it's just hiding it. So now if I go back to the props category here, you're going to see PR. There's no PR2. I hid it. There's no PR6 and 7. I hid those too. They're not deleted. They're still there. You can go and unhide them if you want. but they're not cluttering up the list when you're breaking down your schedule. Delete all found elements. Another, again, we're in elements, we're staying in elements with the new features here. Similar to the hide, this now, you could always delete all elements, but you either delete all elements before or a single element at a time. This allows you to go ahead and delete whatever the found elements are. So you could do a search, you could do a filter or a search for whatever elements you want. You could then go under elements and say delete found. Much different than delete all. Delete found is only going to delete your found elements that are in the current found set, okay? So that's a nice new feature there. Again, all these features are made or created and designed to help scheduling easier, okay? Change case, also another thing that we added, a small feature, but think about how long it would take for you to do this normally. So let's go ahead and filter. Again, let's go to costumes, for example. You can literally go here and change all the case to uppercase or lowercase. So not a big deal, but if I had 1,000 elements in here or 500 elements and I wanted to do that, it would certainly take a long time. So you can now certainly do that in one. You can do back and forth to lowercase and uppercase. A lot of times, believe it or not, a lot of UPMs and first ADs, I need the elements in lowercase. I need the cast members in uppercase. They're very specific with how they want their call sheet or breakdown sheet to look like. So we added that. Smart call times enhanced. Okay, this is actually kind of cool because nobody really knows about the smart call times feature, and it's a very helpful feature. So what this allows you to do is if I go to a shoot day and notice that my call time here, if you could see that, is 6 a.m. And you'll see it better if I go to meals and shots. So if I go to meals and shots, notice that the breakfast time is 5:30. My first shot is at 7. My first meal is at 11:30. My wrap is at 6. Great. Now, if I turn this little checkbox and uncheck it, so smart call times is now off. And if I go here and I change 6 a.m. as a call time, let's say for some reason we have to change it to 10 a.m., notice that nothing else changed, only the call time changed. The breakfast time didn't change, and certainly you can't have breakfast at 5:30 when you have a call time at 10. So what you can do, let me put this back to 6, is you can do something called smart call times. And what this allows you to do is if you change the time to, let's say, 7 a.m., sorry, my mouse is not working very well here, 7 a.m., notice that now breakfast moved up an hour, first shot moved up an hour, wrap moved up an hour. It shifts your other times based on the constant of the call time. And what you can do is you can actually set those intervals. So for example, you could do plus or minus. So let's say I want my breakfast time to be 30 minutes prior to call time. My first shot 1 hour after call time. So this is all brand new where you could literally set this up and then use your smart call times. And once you modify a call time, everything will change. That's a nice new feature there. Episodes. So now we're in episodes. Okay. This was probably one of the biggest requested features. And this is the ability to add episode support. So to be honest with you, let me go to a schedule here that I have episodes, not all, this is my sample that I have episodes on. So for example, here you can see a new field here up here called episode 1. If I click on it, let's just do that. You'll see that you can color code your episodes and have as many as you want, of course. You can edit the name if you want, or you could put a couple notes there of the episode. So what you can do here is you can attach a episode number to a scene. Now, why is that important? It's not just a number. It goes way beyond that, because what you can do then is on your board, if you clump all your episodes that you want in a particular phase. So sometimes you'll shoot a scene from episode 1 and a scene from episode 2 on the same day, or on the same clump of days, and then shoot another scene from episode 1 10 days later. Well, if you do this properly and set up your production phases properly, you can then put whatever scenes you want attached to a certain episode on a phase, and then organize your board accordingly, basically being able to schedule multiple episodes, different episodes on any particular day. So that's really nice. The nice thing about that too, and I think this is the next feature, is the printing. So what this allows you to do now, because of the episode support, if you go to printing, there is a button here that says specify which episode to print. So if you select that on certain reports, of course, not all reports, but on certain reports, you can then select the episodes to print. So if I wanted to do breakdown summary, or a cast call sheet, or if I wanted to do a one-line schedule or a shooting schedule, and only do it for episode 1 or only do it for episode 2, as long as you specify the episode on the scene, you can go ahead and print the report just for that episode. Add screenplay to a new episode. Very similar to separating out your scenes. You could separate out your screenplay import. So for example, you import episode 1, you start working on it, and then you go in and say, I want to add episode 2 to the same schedule. Now you could either create a new schedule for episode 2, which is totally fine too, especially if it's different shoot days. But if the shoot days is going to overlap, or if their shoot days are going to be commingled with episode 1, you might want to do it in the same schedule. So this allows you to add a screenplay, add an episode basically, and attach it to a different episode. So that's the whole episode feature that we added. The autosave schedule, great. So with this, now Gorilla does save your work as you go, which is great. But what you can also do, we also encourage you to save as a backup. So now if you go to the save preferences here, I'm in the project manager. This is my little gear, my little preferences gear. If I click on the save preferences, I can set my reminder to save every 30 minutes or 45 minutes or every hour or what have you. And it will pop up with a reminder to do that. And you just click, go ahead and save. And you can also set the auto save to never overwrite the original. Just keep on versioning the next save. So you could have multiple versions of your schedule. Of course, this could get very unruly if you keep on doing it and you have 50 of them. You take a lot of room and such. But I would do this at least for a week. And you could literally have version 1 of the schedule, version 2, version 3, etc. And the same thing with the budget. I think that's probably the next feature, autosave budget. Same exact thing. You can autosave your budget so that, and it versions it for you. Cloud and Dropbox save options. Okay, this is very convenient if you wanted to, again, we're in saving. So let's say you want to go into there's a new button here that says Dropbox. And now what Dropbox means, it doesn't mean necessarily Dropbox, the Dropbox company. It means any cloud-based service. So I have mine attached to my iCloud because I don't use Dropbox, I use iCloud. So I'm already have this set up, the path set up, because I click the change path to set up my iCloud. So I click on save here. I don't have to look for it. I don't have to find it. I just set it up once and I could just click on iCloud, boom, it'll save. And if I go over here and I click on documents, boom, it'll save documents. You don't have to find it. You don't have to search for the folder. Much easier to save. All right. Again, any questions, guys? I know I'm going fast. I'm on 21 and I'm on 29 minutes. It's not too bad. I'm going to try to go through all of them. So screenplay. We now have a sync screenplay synopsis import option. It's really interesting how some of these features you're like, oh, okay, that's nice. Well, it certainly would be a problem if you were to sync your screenplay. Let me go into a screenplay, to a schedule. Now, if you were to sync a screenplay, and this has happened, this is one of those things that our users contacted us and say, oh my God, my synopsis, which is up here, has been overwritten. Because when you import a screenplay by default, if you do it for the very first time, by default, the synopsis up here, it's not empty. It imports the first line of your action. right? This one I actually changed, but let me see if scene 2 shows it. I changed that too. So I modified these, which is actually, to be honest with you, that's a very good example. So we hear the faint strains of lounge music. Okay, see, again, a little bit different. So this was modified, which makes a lot of sense because you want to go in, you don't really want to have the first line of action in your synopsis. A synopsis is a synopsis. You want to have a 1-line or 2-line synopsis of the scene. But like I said, by default, we imported the first line of action. So if you were to import a screenplay, if you were to sync a screenplay, we now have a little checkbox here that says do not replace synopsis. So if you did all the work and you modified all the synopsises and made them customizable to whatever you want, and then synced your screenplay, it would before overwrite the synopsis. If you checkbox this, which is by default now checked on, it will not overwrite your synopsis and will not overwrite all the work that you did if you did change the synopsis. Supports other FDX file formats. So aside from supporting Final Draft version 12, which we do, Gorilla 7 now supports writer duet and fade in FDX files. There are other programs that do adhere to the FDX file format. So it's very possible that those will work flawlessly also. These two we will actually really officially support. So if there's an issue with them, we will look into it and see why there's a certain issue. We cannot say that with every single FDX file, but it'll probably work just fine with every other Final Draft, with other FDX files. Celtics, so another big request was to import from the Celtics format. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back. Sorry, there we go. And oh, I went back twice. Look at that. There we go. Celtics now is not really a file format. It's Fountain. That's the file format. So Fountain is actually a very nice format. If you don't use Final Draft or you don't want to use a screenplay, you don't want to spend the money, you can actually write your screenplay in a Fountain format. If you look it up and you could see the tags, you just have to put a tag before your action, a tag before your dialogue. And we could import that, and you could do it in Word, for example, and it'll import just fine. Import summary, again, we're still in the screenplay features. Import summary from the FDX. In the Final Draft file, there is a summary field. It says FDX, but this is really Final Draft. Right here is a new tab called summary, and this will import that if you have the summary written in Final Draft. Screenplay display options. Okay, so as you probably noticed already, if we go back to, let's go back to breakdown sheet and go back to scene 1, you can now see the screenplay on the screen in Gorilla 7. So we have some options here. If you wanted to, you could literally just not see it. So you could click that and not look at the screenplay. And again, if you're done with it, you don't really want to bother with it, you just want to concentrate and zone in on scheduling, you could turn that off so you don't, you won't see the screenplay. It's not disappeared. It's not gone. It's just not shown. You could bring it back, of course. And also we have the opposite. If you really want to see more room with the screenplay, you can click this little expand button here. Now, of course, that's just a small scene, but it'll show you more of the screenplay on the display. So that's a new feature. Remove duplicate strips. Okay. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but in Gorilla, you can push a breakdown sheet to the board. So when you create your board, it usually creates all your scenes on there, all your strips on there. But we did allow you to go back to the breakdown sheet and push it again. So for example, if I were to push this breakdown sheet to the board, I would literally push it again. So this is scene, I don't want to go too much into it, so I'll just explain it. So I could literally push scene 5 again. I'll have 2 scene 5s on the board. Why that is because you might want to split the scene. You might want to shoot scene 5, partial scene 5 on day 1 and partial scene 5 on day 2. So, and you can do it again and have 3 scene 5s on your board. So that's why that feature is there. Now you can now remove duplicate strips on the board. So if you have 10 scene 5s, instead of one at a time, you could delete all of them, all the duplicates in one shot. So we're going to probably go into the strip board. Yeah, we're in the strip board. Great. So now I'm going to show you some of these strip board features. Show character name. So let's go into the board. Okay. And the strip board, if you're not familiar with that, is where you schedule your marriage, sort of a marriage between your scenes and your shoot days. And the black strips are your shoot days, and the colored strips correspond to your scene. So for example, on day 1, we're going to be shooting scene 1 and scene 2. And you could customize how this looks in the custom strip design. We had that in Gorilla 6, which was a really nice feature. You can go in there and change where everything is positioned on the strip board. But over here, notice you see 1 and 2, and you see 7. So these are your board IDs. Remember, I talked about IDs, and they correspond to the cast members. And if you look here on the legend on the left, Barney is 1, Amanda is 2, and the bellman is 7. So I can now look and see where that is. Great. But now we can actually go and see and click on this button here, show character name. So if you wanted to, you could literally see the name of the character on the board, so you don't have to constantly be looking over there. And you could turn it off whenever you want, but it's really nice for scheduling. So I'm like, oh, okay, Barney, I want to put Barney together. Same thing with extras. You could click that button and you could man on sidewalk, as you can see there. You can now show extras. All right, let's go to the next one here. Show extras, great. Character edit. Now what you can do is, let's say you want to edit anything about the character on the board. Instead of closing this all out and going back to characters, you can literally click on the name here, and it's dynamic. So you could go in and check out all the scenes that Barney is in. If you want to see all the scenes that the bellboy is in, you could certainly do that, only in one scene, scene 6. And you could go ahead and modify the name of the element if you want. You can go ahead and do anything you want normally in the element info screen, but you could do it right here, right from the board, so you don't have to exit the board. Do not show extras. Okay, great. This one, this one I have to say was literally added in 7.04, which we just released, I think, last week. Now, just as an aside, every month we are committed to releasing an update, not just because we want to, fix little bugs and issues and things like that, but we want to add features all the time. And so this is one that we literally added in 7.04. As you can see over here on the legend, there's a little checkbox that says do not show extras. So if I click it, I will no longer show the extras on the legend board. Now, you might not think that's a great feature, but let me tell you something. When you have, and I've seen schedules like this, when you have a schedule of 50 or 60 extras, and the person who's doing the schedule did not put IDs on them, in other words, they're empty, it sorts those to the top. So if you click that button now, you don't have to worry about IDing them, you don't have to worry about whatever. All you just do that, and it'll parse that, it'll filter that list, so you'll only see your characters and not your extras. So we just added that. Adjust zoom level. So we did a lot of things with the zoom level here. So this is more of a accessibility thing. So if you have a really large monitor, so if you go to scheduling preferences and you go to the stripboard tab, we have options here to add. We added where the stripboard should open on your screen. You could put the pixels here, left, top, height, width. You can also adjust the zoom level right here. So if you want larger strips and actually larger font. So you could do that here. That's a new feature we added. Add daybreak. We're still in stripboard features, okay? So what we can do here is add a new shoot day. Before, you had to exit the board, go to shoot days, go to the calendar like I showed you before, and add a shoot day there, and then open your board, and then your new day would appear on the very bottom. Well, we made that a little easier for you. We just added a new option here that says add day break, new shoot day. Okay, this will literally create a brand new shoot day, add it to your calendar, put it to the very bottom of the board, and you can start if you realize, oh, I need another day. Same thing with remove. Remove last day break. It'll do the same thing. It probably is the next one. Yep. Print extras option, header board. Okay. There's a report called a header board, which is basically this right here in a report format. And we now have an option to print extras. You couldn't do that before. Again, minor, but that's a nice add. Add scene. Again, we're still in Stripboard. Add scene from Stripboard. This is actually very useful. Let's say you're doing the board and you realize, Final Draft either didn't import the scene or you needed to add a scene, which is very possible too. A lot of people add scenes after the fact, after they've imported the screenplay from the program. New button here called Add Scene. So instead of closing the board, going to the board, right? This is what you would have to do before closing the board. Go to the breakdown sheet, add the scene. It'll automatically push it if you add a scene to the board and come back. You can click this button right here, and you can literally add a scene right to the board. It'll add right to the bottom, and you could scroll it up and schedule the new scene, and it will appear, of course, on your breakdown sheets. Undo last delete. We're finally going to budgeting. Okay, I'm a little late. I'm on number 37, 41 minutes in. That's not too bad. Okay, so now we're going to go into budgeting. I want to definitely spend a few minutes here on budgeting. So now I'm going to launch a budget, and we now added undo last delete. So if you were to delete, let's say production design, let's say this whole column, this whole row here, I click on delete, it's going to give you a warning, of course. Gone, all gone. But now there's a little button here. You can see at the top left says undo, and it's gonna know what your last undo is. You want to restore that category. You click on restore, and there we go. And it's not just one line. Remember, this is the account level. It's the detail level. It's whatever is attached. This is just a summary. So that's a nice undo feature that was highly requested, of course, and we added that. Up and down arrow keys, again, for navigation, but in budgeting. So you won't be able to see what I do here, but I'm on the keyboard, I'm pushing down on the down arrow key. And as you can see, I'm going up and down there. If I were to hit the shift arrow key, and again, you can't see what I'm doing, it would go to the next level. And if you want to see what that legend is, just go up here, down, up. Next level is shift plus, previous is shift plus left. So that's brand new. We added up and down arrow keys. General budget notes. So now what you can do is, let me go back to manager. Oh, I'm sorry, to top sheet. We now added a setup under setup general notes. This is brand new. So what you can do now is add whatever notes you want to add, and this will print at the very bottom of a top sheet. Okay. All right, let's see. Number 40, update budget detail item from link schedule. Got it. So what this allows you to do is, now this is linked. Now in Gorilla, you can link a budget to a schedule. So if I were to go into, let's say, talent, right? And go to my detail level, and I wanted to go down here and select actor. Now look what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at actors from my linked schedule. You can see this is my linked schedule right here. And these are rates that are entered in scheduling, not budgeting, which you can do. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You could do all your rates in budgeting. But if you do want to put in your rates in scheduling, you can click on this particular character, for example. And of course, it brings, I already did this before, as you can see. Let me go ahead and delete this one. Okay, so I brought that in. It brings in the rate, right? It brings in the amount, the days, all from the schedule, because we know how many days are being scheduled for. That comes in from the schedule. Now, if we were to go back, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to actors, to the schedule and modify. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm modifying the rate from 450. Notice that was what it was imported to, let's say, 800. This is not the budget that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the schedule. okay? If I do that, notice that it updated the rate in the schedule. Before, it didn't do that. Before, once you imported, that was it. You'd have to go in, and if you modified the schedule, you'd have to go back and modify the budget. So we added a better linking mechanism. One click for prep, shoot, wrap, create lens. Got it. Okay, so what this allows you to do is, let's go ahead to setup. I'm sorry, setup or budget preferences. We have a new tab here called prep, shoot, wrap. And what you could do is you can specify how many weeks, because these are in weeks, how many weeks your prep is, how many weeks your shoot is, and how many weeks your wrap is. So I put in 2, 6, and 1. And so what this allows you to do is go in and add the prep, shoot, wrap down here. This is a new button here. If I click this, it adds prep, shoot, wrap, and 261, it brought in that prep, shoot, wrap into 3 separate line items, which is very common. And then you can go ahead and do your budgeting that way. So we added that. So let's go into the next one. Does the program know whether to use daily or weekly rates for an actor? That's a good question. So going back here to the what you have to specify that. So if you are, again, if you're importing from the schedule, let me go back to actors, and this is the rate. It's noticed down here, it shows you import rate type. Right now it's set as per day. If I were to select per week, now this is whatever I entered. Obviously, these are just sample, dummy rates, but this is the weekly rate that I entered in the schedule. These are the daily rates I entered. So you have to specify which one you want to enter, because in the schedule, if you select the schedule, the actor, and you're looking at the record there, notice you have all these different rates here: hourly, weekly, monthly, flat. You have to specify that when you import. Okay. Let's go into the next one here. Block defer. Okay. So what this allows you to, I've already did this here. Okay. Item blocked. So let me unblock this one real quick. Okay. So we can block an item, and this was done in Gorilla 6. This was never an issue in Gorilla 6, but notice this is $8,000. So if I go back to the top sheet and notice talent there was $8,000. Now it says $2,500. Well, that doesn't make any sense, but I'm looking at this little red dot that's telling me that this item is partially or fully blocked, right? So that makes a lot of sense now. So I can visually see on the top sheet. I don't have to go down into the detail to see why is that 2,500. It should be 10,000 something, but I can see okay, something is blocked. Okay, so that's just a nice indicator to show you that something is blocked. Fringe notification on account level, very similar to the blocked. If you have a fringe, you will see a blue F right here. So you can see that there's a fringe attached to that particular line item. Top sheet, auto numbering, got it. Okay. What this allows you to do, or shows you, is it'll show you page numbers for the budget if you're going to print it. So it'll tell you that this will be on page 4, this will be on page 5, this will be on page 6. Now this depends on if you're using US letter or US legal, and that's what you specify when you print. So that's a nice feature. It'll tell you how long your budget is, basically. How many pages? Totals color coded. Okay. What this allows you to do is it allows you to see on the bottom where things come from. So for example, I have a purple star right here. That's telling you that over here on the left, you see contractual charges is in purple. So there is a contractual charge, which is a percentage attached to this grand total. There's a lot more colors. Credits, I think, is what colors credits? I forget. Then there's deferred, and then there's add-ons, which is green, I think. So if there are different anything at the bottom, you'll see all those little stars there, which will tell you that we have an add-on here, we have a credit here. So that's a nice thing to see on the totals. Duplicate accounts. It says duplicate account, but that's not the right, is it the right thing? I forgot. Let me see. There's two things here, actually. There's duplicate account, which you can literally duplicate here, and this will duplicate the account level plus the all below it. So whatever's below it, as you can see all this stuff over here, it'll duplicate all of that. But there's another feature here that we added in 7.02. Again, our commitment to adding a new feature per release, per free release, is move copy. This was not in the initial release of version 7. So what this allows you to do is to move or copy that entire account to another category. So let's say you wanted to move actors to a different category, which does happen. A lot of times you're doing the budget and things are either have to be moved over for accounting purposes, or you start changing the accounting numbering system. You can literally move or copy the entire thing over without redoing it. So that was added in 7.02, I believe. 46, I'm almost done. Quick account view from top sheet. Okay, what this allows you to do is really nice, actually. There's a perfect example. Look at the talent with blocked, right? I can go in here and see this is well, let me find one that has a lot more. Hold on. Production design, maybe, or this one, this will have a lot. Perfect. So notice that this one, I set operations. I just click on the total and it's telling me where that stuff is coming from. The grip, the best boy, perfect. That's basically what my total is for that. You can't add here. It's just sort of giving you a quick summary. And the same thing, if you dig down deep into the account level, you click here on a subtotal and it's going to tell you what that 3168 is made up of. So that's a nice feature there. Customize grand totals. Okay, what this allows you to do is the labels. So if I print a top sheet report, let me go ahead and do a quick top sheet report. Notice on the bottom here, you have, if you could see it, it might be a little hard to see, but on the bottom is all the fringes, the add-ons, the grand total, the credits, deferments, in kind, and net total. Guy in Europe, for some reason, wanted to change net total to something. He wanted this to be grand total. I tried to explain to him the net total, that's not really how it works. You have to do all the credits first, and then the net total is the net, But anyway, he wanted this to be grand total. Couldn't do it in 6. So what you can do in version 7 now is if you go to budgeting preferences, there's a new label here called grand total labels. And you could change all these labels to whatever your heart desires, whatever you want. You could change net total down here to grand total if you want. You can just click on that customize labels for this budget button and enter whatever you want. So again, one guy asked for it. There you go. We're nice. So quick find account. Okay, this is actually kind of nice because especially with a budget that has a lot of stuff in it. So if I go to the keep on clicking manager, sorry, budget. I'm moving it down because my zoom is in the way. You can't see it, but my zoom is in the way. Okay, so if you go down here, notice down here, there's a brand new field called quick find account. And you could go down here and let's say I want to check grip rentals. You can go ahead and do that. Boom, it automatically takes you to the account. You can go ahead and modify whatever you want to modify there. So it goes right into the account of that particular item that you're searching for. 50, we're almost done. Export day out of days to Excel. Again, another really nice feature. This is back into the schedule. So let me go into the schedule. A day out of days report, if you're not familiar with that, is a really, really powerful report, really nice report that allows you to show the work days and the actors and how many days they're needed for that particular shoot. So one of the most used reports in scheduling, but now we have the option to export this report to Excel. Down here, notice that little checkbox right there. Basically allows you to export all that information and you could go into Excel and do whatever you want with it. We added that for you. Now I'm over 50, believe it or not, I'm over 50. So I did well. Redesign print screen with Excel option. Okay, if you go in back to the print screen and show all the print options, there's a new button here called Save to Excel. If I click it, these are all the, I think data days here. There's data days. It gives you a one place where you could go and export. This is exporting information. Remember, this is not printing. This is exporting. So if you want to get data out of Gorilla into another file format like Excel or Word, you can do that right here. Okay. Updated storyboard module. All right. The whole storyboard module has been completely redesigned. Works a lot nicer, a lot smoother. We created what's called groups, shot groups. So what you can do is you can create a group and then literally attach that group to a shoot day. Or you could import scenes. And then let's say you want to go ahead and, let me go ahead into group 1, for example. So let's say you want to do your shots. You could do master, medium close-up, all this kind of stuff here. You want to add new shots. We added lots more different shots to choose from. These are just sample shots, of course. You want to add a moving shot to this, or a follow down, or editing shot, special effects kind of a shot. Now you can add your own images to these. You replace these, are just placeholders basically, but this allows you to storyboard your schedule if you want to do that. Okay. We now can duplicate shots. We weren't allowed to do that before in version 6, and change the shot type on the fly as opposed to recreating it. So I'm not going to go over that because we're running out of time here. And then action and dialogue, we could do that too. We can literally go in, I'll show you that real quick. If you want to go into a shot and edit the shot, and there's a new tab here called action dialogue. So if you wanted to, you could literally copy this from the screenplay. If you wanted to, you could literally put in the action and dialogue for the shot and print out a shot list with the action and dialogue. Classic detail report, probably the best report that we added. This is a really, really nice report in budgeting that allows you to print a big requested feature that allows you basically to, I'll just show you what it looks like real quick. If I go into the more report options and budgeting detail, what this allows you to do is print out a classic detail report, which now I don't have that much data here, but it gives you a budget top sheet summary. And then I'm sorry, this is the actual summary for the budget. This is sort of a header page. And then it shows you all the detailed information with the fringes. We didn't have that before. So the detail report shows the fringes all into one nice report. You could save it to PDF if you want. Probably one of the best reports we have now. And again, all the reports have been updated. Well, not all, a lot of them. A lot of them have been updated. We added different sort options and different preferences to modify the report. So for example, if I go into the reporting here for the scheduling, let's go ahead and to more reports and click a gear. See all these gears, a lot of these have been updated. So you can go ahead and look at preferences. Anything here can be modified. We added a lot of things here, a lot of sort options, what to print, what not to print, just to make these reports a lot more customizable. I think I'm done. Am I done? I'm done. All right. 57 new features in Gorilla 7, and we're adding them all the time. Every month we're going to add something. We have a list of stuff that we're going to add. We're just working on it. So any questions about anything Gorilla related or scheduling or budgeting related? Now is the perfect time to ask it. If you want to unmute your mic, you're welcome to do that. We have a few minutes. I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have. Can you go between version 6 and 7? You cannot, but you can go one time from 6 to 7. So of course you can take your schedule and convert it to version 7, and same with the budget, you can convert that to version 7. But once you're in 7, you won't be able to open that budget or that schedule in 6. There's just way too many features that we added in 7 that might break version 6. And so it just wasn't feasible to offer that. Tell us more about updating, or I think you said syncing scripts. Tell us more. Syncing, yeah. Now this is a feature that we have in 6, but we did modify it a bit and actually updated it a bit. But what the syncing feature allows you to do is if you've modified your screenplay significantly and you've already done the schedule, so you've already gone in, you've already done your scheduling, your elements, even your shoot days and your strip board, and then of course the script comes in with modified changes. You could do one of two things. You can go and physically change the schedule to match the script if you want. You could go in here, anything that you can import from Final Draft or from Screenwriter, you can modify. So the set, interior exteriors right here. Think of this as the script. Right here's the whole screenplay right here. The set information, which is interior set day, dawn, night, twilight. All this can be changed right here. You don't have to re-import the screenplay. The page count can be changed. So if the scene had changed from 2/8 of the pages to 3/8 of the pages, you could certainly do that here. And even the scene number, right? So what you can do also is import a synced screenplay. The thing is, it's very important to understand syncing. You have to import the screenplay with the same scene number. So if the writer did not renumber the scenes, because this is the whole point of locking a script. I can go on and speak an hour on this. The whole point of once a script is locked, that means you cannot change the scene numbers. And that's why Final Draft has that feature. You lock a script, you cannot change the scene numbers, because once you import that into scheduling, scene 1 is scene 1, scene 2 is scene 2. You go back to the screenplay, oh, let's add a new scene. Well, now scene 3 is scene 4, and you try to sync it, it's not going to work. Okay, it's not going to work. You have to understand that in order to sync, we need something to grab onto. Okay, Final Draft is not our program. We can't go into to behind the scenes and grab. No, that we know that's scene 3 because it's scene 3 in Gorilla. Scene 3 means scene 3. We have to grab the scene number and say, got it. Final Draft says it's scene 3, then it's scene 3. So important to understand syncing only if it's a locked script. Number one, and only if it's significant changes. If it's a minor change, don't even bother. Just go to Gorilla and change, or add the scene in Gorilla. What updates when you bring in a new version, or does the user change it manually? Oh, what updates? Got it. Okay, what will update? The most important stuff, which is the page count, the interior, exterior, the set, the day-night field. And what else updates? I forget. The screenplay display, I think there's an option for that, for the action dialogue here. See, that I think was changed. If I'm not, see, update screenplay display. That's new. That was not in version 6, which if the screenplay display has changed, you can just import that and not import the scene information, the interior, exterior day. Saving to the cloud will allow multiple users on the same file, even if not. We don't save to the cloud unless you want to save to the cloud. Gorilla is a desktop program. It saves on your desktop. So you can save your file to the cloud. When I showed you how to do that in the manager, when it goes to the project manager and do save here and save to drop my Dropbox, that's just saving the file, which is fine. You can then, of course, load it back in. But Gorilla is not a cloud-based program, okay? Will day-night import correctly if the screenplay TOD is continuous or moments later? Got it. Okay, very good question. I have done a video on how to format your screenplay for scheduling. And notice that up here in the day-night field, there is no continued or moments later, because that's not proper in scheduling. It's like a no-no, okay? Writers use it all the time. The top writers who make millions of dollars per screenplay, or I don't know if they make millions anymore, but will do that. You don't want to do that, because there's no such thing in a call sheet that says moments later. Nobody knows what the hell moments later is. What it does is if you have moments later, or if it doesn't recognize the day-night field as one of these, it changes it to day. So don't put moments later or continuous as in where the day-night field is. Do that in the action, okay? That's the proper way to do it, not in the day-night field. That is one of my biggest pet peeve. Yeah, I agree with you with moments later. Do not use it. It is wrong. I don't care what screenwriters does it. It's wrong. They're not in production. Can multiple users work on the same file for different computers? Not at the same time, no, because it's not a cloud-based program. The best thing to do is to, like I said, go into the manager, go in here, click the Dropbox button, click save, have that user access your same Dropbox if they can, and then they can go in, and when they load it, you go into here, load schedule, and then they would click Dropbox right there, and there would be. So you still have a swapping of going. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to kind of get out of Gorilla to do that, because notice here, if you see the path, it's showing you this is my cloud, my iCloud folder. But you still have to be careful about who has the latest version of Gorilla. There's also a lot of syncing involved. You can do syncing contacts. You can do syncing elements. These are features that we do have also. All right, excellent questions, guys. These are great. Back on paying actors either weekly or daily rates, was that clickbox choice a universal, or can that be chosen by individual actor? Okay, let's see. So, okay, that's a loaded question. I'm going to do my best to answer it. Totally depends if you're doing a SAG film or not. If you're doing SAG, depending on if it's ultra low budget or medium budget or high budget, you have to follow SAG rules, whether it's weekly or daily, and depending on if it's a day player or if it's a weekly player, or if it's a lead. Those are all SAG rules on how to pay them. Okay, hold on. I meant the budget pull down from the schedule. Got it. I meant the budget pull down from the schedule information. Okay, let me go there because I'm not quite sure what you're asking. So let me go there. You could unmute your mic if you want and explain to me, but let me go in there and go to talent and go to actors. Okay, now you're talking about right here. Was that clickbox choice universal, or can it be chosen by individual actor?
Yeah, can you put in like a certain actor's getting paid at his weekly rate, another actor's getting paid at a daily rate, or was that a universal choice?
Got it. Okay, now I understand. Absolutely. So for example, this is set per day. See, right now, if I select Christine, it's going to come in per day. But if I go ahead and do that, and then I come back, so let me go ahead and do that. So Christine, boom, she comes in. If I go back here and say, well, now I want to do Jennifer, but I want her a day, a week or something, I can click per week, you see? And then if I do, well, she doesn't have it per week, so that's not an example. Here, John Doe does, right? So John Doe has a weekly rate, and I can go ahead and click on John Doe. So this imported, one of them was a weekly, one of them was a daily. So you can do that. You could change that. It just, you just can't do it all at one shot. Okay. So that's the only thing. Because right now, if I selected per week, let me do the per day, that has more rates in it. And I do select all, it's going to do all of them with the per day. Okay. Hope that answers that. Back to scripts and the created elements. If you sync the script and the dialogue changes, what happens to the elements that were highlighted? They're still, oh, got it. Okay, very good question. Never got that before. Nothing will happen to them. They will still be scheduled. So once, I think that answers that, let me explain that. So let me go back. So if you go back here and let me show this as a, let me see, there we go. So if we go, let's say we sync this and this changed here, and something that was highlighted or tagged is no longer highlighted or tagged, and you already tagged it, like sidewalks, for example, it will still be highlighted. It'll still be tagged, not necessarily highlighted because it might not be in the script. Okay. So if it's not in the script, it will not highlight, but it will not be gone from your schedule elements. This does not change when you import a screenplay. It will add, it will add, I don't believe it deletes. I don't think it does. I don't think it does, because remember, Gorilla is the last say for scheduling. Okay, final draft for action, dialogue, and that kind of, and page count and things like that. But once you schedule something, it doesn't get unscheduled if you sync again, if you sync a screenplay. Okay, I think that was your question. These are good questions, guys. Import a PDF. Not yet, but I don't want to overstep a little bit of my bounds. I don't want to say it's coming because I'm not sure if it's coming. However, if you have a PDF script, you are welcome to send it to us. We have a converter that we can do and convert it and send it back to you. Here's a little, let me see if I have it. But let me see if I, let's see. Okay, I'm going to open up Final Draft. And this is version 12, okay? Version 12, it does not work in version 11, but if you have Final Draft 12 and you have are able to import a PDF script. Let me see, is it open? I don't know if it's open or new, but Final Draft can import a PDF script and then export it. So of course you have to have Final Draft 12, but again, we will be happy to do that. Just send us the PDF. We'll do it for you, send it right back. Not sure if it's coming, probably, not sure exactly when, but something will probably will do. But there's so many options already, but that's probably the last frontier is a PDF. Okay. Anything else? Anything you want to see, or any questions about Gorilla in general, or scheduling or budgeting? If you have any more questions that you might think of later, please don't hesitate to chat us in. You can certainly do that. The costs, if you have Gorilla 6, there is a discount for the first year. You get 100, or if you have Gorilla, it depends if you want to get the combo pack or scheduled and budget. I'll tell you what the combo pack is. The combo pack, which is budgeting and scheduling. Remember, we're getting 2 programs, is $360 a year or $30 a month. If you have Gorilla 6, you get $110 off of that for the first year. So it's $250 for the first year. If you're just doing scheduling or budgeting, because you can just purchase one or the other, it's $240 for scheduling or $240 for budgeting, or $20 a month for scheduling or budgeting. And also you get a discount for that too. So it would be $150 if you have Gorilla 6 for the first year, I think. So there's a discount. Not only that, yes, you can install on 2 machines per license. Absolutely. You can certainly do that. And in fact, we significantly lowered our packs cost. Might not seem like it because we're moving to subscription, but if you get a director pack or a producer pack or a crew pack, I think that's what it is, it's literally $5 more a month. So if you want 3 installs, it's another $5 a month for the monthly, or producer 4 installs, another $10. I think, or something like that. It's really quite reasonable for the pack. So you can get up to 5 installs if you want. You're welcome. And what was I going to say? I was going to say something. I forgot. I'm so sorry. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I'm going to definitely put this up as a video because it's a great video. Really great questions. Oh, one other thing. Only because we really worked a lot on it. Gorilla Guide. We have a Gorilla Guide that we didn't have with Gorilla 6. We never have it. Believe it or not, we didn't have a manual. Not because we didn't want to do it, but because no one used it. And then we did our training videos, and then people said, where's the manual? When we don't have it, they ask for it. And when we do have it, they didn't look at it. So we brought back the Gorilla Guide, both for scheduling and budgeting. It's online. So we update it anytime we do an update, anytime we add a feature to it, we update it. So if you click Gorilla Guide scheduling, it opens up online as a PDF. And it's I think, a couple hundred pages there for index, so you could go ahead and do that. And then our training videos accessible right from the program. So if you click on scheduling, it's going to show you, and these are this is showing you our online. This is online also. I just added one to a couple of days ago, updating from Gorilla 7 to Gorilla 7 latest, because some people had some issues and questions on how do I update from 7.03 to 7.04. Well, did a video and put that up there. We have one from upgrading to Gorilla 7 from Gorilla 6. We have one up here, a new one, importing from Final Draft version 12, brand new. We also have importing from Final Draft version 11. We also have importing from a movie Magic Screenplay. And then Screenplay import quick overview, which shows you how to do the fountain and the Celtics and all that kind of stuff. And all these are new. All these are new. This is just scheduling. We also have a whole list of budgeting videos that are also brand new. All the new features in 7 are here too. So you could easily, if you have a question, and it'll tell you the time here, which is nice. So this is 3 minutes. Wow, only 3 minutes. I'll watch it, Okay. Excellent. So if there are no more questions, I want to thank everyone for showing up. I'm really glad you came. I'm really glad you saw some of the new features. Thanks for coming, stopping by. And again, any more questions, feel free to chat. Thanks, everyone.